folks, it's Finn. I think this week's update is going to be another random vlog from me because I just want to share some thoughts with you on the onion of recovery. For those who watch my vlogs, you'll know that I am just coming up for 6 years in recovery from drugs and alcohol. I also consider myself about the same time in recovery from mental health issues. It wasn't until I actually engaged with Alcoholics Anonymous, until I got sober, that I was able to address everything. And so part of my recovery from drugs and alcohol was also included recovery from mental health issues, and also my coming out as trans has been part of that recovery. So I often talk on here about my recovery, and I just wanted to kind of talk about how I see that, because when I talk about recovery, I'm not talking about a destination. Recovery for me is an ongoing process. It's a journey of which I very much enjoy and I want to spend the rest of my life doing. So in terms of that, recovery isn't the right word, but it's the only word that actually explains my situation. I suppose you could use words like spiritual enlightenment, self-improvement, awakening, all of those things. That is kind of what I mean when I talk about recovery. And especially for me as an alcoholic, we talk in AA about always recovering, never recovered, because to think I'm recovered would mean that I could go out and take a drink, and I absolutely know that if I take one drink that could possibly set off the whole obsession with alcohol, and it could send me on a spiral that I might never ever get out of again, and so I'm not risking it, which is why I stay sober. But having said that, I always talk about myself as in recovery of drugs and alcohol, so that's why everything else gets lumped with that. But when I'm saying recovery, I'm actually meaning this kind of process of furthering my self-knowledge about myself, about who I am in the world, about my thoughts on the world, and all of these things, really. This is going to be a bit of a deep vlog, isn't it? Basically, I'm reflecting on this onion of recovery in light of being a newly single man, because I've said before that what I try and do when something goes hideously wrong, as it has recently with this breakup, it was not on the cards, it was not planned, you know, this is not what I wanted, and yet it's happened. And so turning it on its head, the positive side of this is this now, as a single man, really fast forwards my recovery in terms of learning stuff about myself that I couldn't have learned as being part of a couple. I mean, for example, I started drinking when I was 13. I didn't sober up until I was 37. So I've always been with partners when it comes to kind of living somewhere. I've never been sober and actually run a house and all that kind of stuff. I've lived on my own in early recovery, but in an all-inclusive place, so I didn't have any bills. So in being in this flat, this is new for me as like a single person running my own house and, you know, all the little things. I mean, I made a joke about this, but it's true. I've never owned a Hoover. You know, this is something that is new. I'm 42 years old and I've only just bought my very first Hoover and an iron. You know, these little things that, you know, in kind of stunting my own growth by drinking, I didn't grow up and do this adult stuff. And it's different than doing it with a partner. When you're doing it with a partner, you're sharing all of this stuff, but this is just on my own back that I'm doing all of these things. It's just opened up a whole new level of life. In having a partner, you always have that kind of base of security, and now I don't have that. I'm all on my own merits. Of course I've got friends and what have you, and of course no one is an island. You always, I think, should have a support network, and I do, and I'm plugging into the support network here, but that's very different as a single man, and I have not got anybody else to think about. And it's also different in making friends, because I haven't got to think about a partner and think about, okay, I want to socialise, but out of consideration I have to let a partner know, or maybe I have to include a partner in that friendship, all of these things. So standing on my own 2 feet, in running my own house, in making my own friends, in making my own decisions, this is all incredibly exciting stuff at the moment, and I can very much feel it opening up a whole new world in terms of my ongoing recovery and about discovering myself and what it is that makes me tick and what I really enjoy as just me without having to consider what someone else likes. It's only in reflection, being here in Devon now that I realise how much my soul works in sync with coastline. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and they were saying they really feel the pull for a forest, and they're looking at moving to Glastonbury because, you know, that's what where they kind of work best, is in that environment. And I think it's really interesting that we all work in these different ways, and different environments suit us better, but we don't always know what those best environments are. I mean, I had no idea who I was 5 years ago, and I've really only known in the last few years who I truly am. And so having this new knowledge about myself that, oh, this is what makes me work and makes me tick and makes me happy, is really lovely. And I always knew, but there was always a partner to consider in that, whereas now there isn't. And that's just wonderful, making me want to stay single for a long time. But that also is going to be very, very interesting, because I've never dated sober, and I've never dated as a man. So this is all incredibly amazing things that I'm going to be getting to do now that I'm single. I mean, in my last vlog I talked about being stealth and how, you know, I'm trying to just kind of be in a new town and just be completely me and not disclose my trans history, and I'm really, really grateful to everybody who's replied on that vlog. I've had so many amazing comments and stuff to really make me think, and I'm not sure that I can be stealth. I don't think it suits the way I work. I'm really deep, and when I connect with people I'm very deep, and to just hide that bit of me is not feeling right, and it's especially not feeling right in AA. I'm missing a big chunk of me, and it's not about me being trans as such, it's about a part of myself, a place in time that I can't share. And I don't know, I just think I need to share that part of me, especially in AA, for people to fully understand me. Somebody left a comment that really made sense to me in what I'm looking to do. Now, I'm very proud of being trans, and do not ever panic, by the way. I will continue to do stuff on YouTube and outreach work and support work. This is what I love doing. I will never ever be stealth and shut off my YouTube. It's just not going to happen. But I'm talking here about in my day-to-day life is what I mean. Anyway, this chap left a comment on there about, with more and more people becoming used to trans folk, there will become a time when people are indifferent to trans folk. And that's exactly what it is I want. It isn't that I want to hide my trans history, it's that I don't want it to obscure who I am. Because at the moment it's such a novel thing that if you say you're trans, people then start asking you questions, and it's almost like they stop seeing you and they just see this trans person. Now, my trans process, in all the things I went through, you know, having to be courageous if you want to, you know, and come out and all of that business, that process is a big part of me, and I really want to share that with others, but I don't want the, oh, you're trans, it's amazing, you lived out, I don't want all of that. That's what I'm trying to avoid. I don't know, I think you might have a few more of these random vlogs, as I'm just kind of like settling into just being me, completely me. Because there was always, you know, I loved my ex-partner, of course I did, but when you're with a partner, especially when you're with a partner that's going through their own journey, I mean, my partner was trans, so that was all happening, you have to make so many compromises. And I found myself a lot of the time having to dull down how I felt for fear of upsetting him, because I knew he had dysphoria and I didn't want to be overexcited about my new abilities to stand to pee and have my top off and all of that. And now I don't have to dull down any of that. I can just be me, and I don't have to consider someone else's feelings like that. And so, if it wasn't for this breakup, I wouldn't be now kind of going through this exploration. And I think it's, of course it's sad, I'm 42 and I'm terrified of the fact that I'm on my own, and it worries me that, you know, am I ever going to find anyone? Of course I'm having those concerns, but at the same time, I just find this is a wonderful opportunity now to really just explore me without having to take anyone else into consideration whatsoever. And, you know, just live and explore in ways that were not available to me as part of a couple, if that makes sense. And I'm looking forward to dating as scared as I am. And I know I keep saying this, I will make a vlog about my my sexuality thoughts because I really haven't got a clue. But I'm looking forward to doing all that. I'm nowhere near wanting a partner, but the idea of going on a few dates and just, you know, that kind of interaction as a sober man is going to be incredible. So yeah, that's this week's random thoughts about the onion of recovery, in which events that you do not expect suddenly open up a new door in terms of learning more about myself, about what makes me tick, about myself with others, and all of those things that were still probably a mystery and would have been explored, but probably in a different way. But I'm going to just leave it there. If you got any of that, can relate to any of that, bear with me while I have a few weeks of randomness right now. But yeah, do leave me a message in the diddly-do thingy majiggy me what's it below, and let me know what you think. Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Right, I will see you next week for more randomness, or maybe it might be a bit more coherent. Who knows? It is Trans Pride this weekend in Brighton. I will be going, so if you do see me, please do say hello. Don't be awkward, because I'm awkward as hell anyway, so we'll both be embarrassed. Just come and say hello, because I absolutely love it, and that'd be really lovely. So I will see you there. Take care, everybody.